So here we go.
Wow.
Compliments of the company.
Wow. Look at that.
Your very own bottle of water.
You're a G. You're a G. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. Stay hydrated.
Is this what kicked it off? Your content creation?
No, it didn't kick it off. It was
Sick.
it was a pivotal moment for sure to life and whatever you want to call it, the universe or whatever religion you are, whatever. I do feel like if you pay attention and you're intentional about things, you will get messages back.
Yes.
But you have to pay attention to them. And the way I saw that is like, who else could give me a message like that I'm supposed to listen to than Denzel Washington? This is like my favorite actor.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube and all podcasting apps.
And make sure you follow us on all the social media apps. Another one in the books, baby. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Wow.
Compliments of the company.
Wow. Look at
Your
that.
very own bottle of water.
You're a G. You're a G. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. Stay hydrated.
Is this what kicked it off? Your content creation?
No, it didn't kick it off.
Sick.
It was a pivotal moment for sure because, I started off just doing random videos and then I started doing more inspired things for my life. I started doing like tall people problems. I started doing like different types of like series. I had this one called
The Brits in, I remember Fred the Fish and the Brits in America as the first time during COVID where I looked at like what you were building and I was kind of like, I can see this natural transition away from the game into this full time because those are like series, right?
Yeah.
And the Brits in America one was something that people can relate to.
Right, and that's still today probably my biggest, not even probably, definitely what I'm known for the most.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure, the British and America stuff. That's what really kicked off the virality and stuff because people really like, at the time, it was talked about the differences and stuff, but yeah, not in that short form content
Not in short
way,
form and not in a humorous way where
Yeah.
it's like your live reactions of it is like what made it funny because it's like, you're really gonna say that about like the scene where you go up and you ask for water in like the fast food restaurant. It's like you're like, okay, it's not that funny, and the guy behind the counter like making the same joke 6 times. Like, okay, that actually is reality, right? Like that does happen.
And that's the thing, because I remember when we used to go to like games and stuff, and we'll have like dinner as a team. It was kind of like a joke because all the time, when I ask for a water. There'll be this whole thing like the server will be like, huh? Be so confused. Even they'll be like, oh my gosh, you're British. And like they start doing a British accent and just go crazy. And just that reaction will be like every single time. And I was just like, okay, at the time, it could be annoying maybe or like funny. But at that point in time in like making content, I was looking for like inspiration. I was at a point where it's like, I don't really know like what to make videos on. And then it just hit me like, I had some like funny moments or like memories about living in America and my experience.
Is it safe to say that's from like Kimball Union days?
Yeah, like that's where it started off. I think the first video I did was like first day in school or something like that.
And the guy bumped into you or something.
Yeah.
Doobie probably.
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. No, but the joke was real about like, I remember there was one joke. It was like, London, isn't that in Paris?
Yes.
Someone actually said that to me.
That's crazy. Yeah, I got asked if I could see the Eiffel Tower from my house once. But it's fun. I don't know if you ever think about this. Like we were pretty out of place. I mean, I know we didn't go at the same time, but when we went to Kimball Union, like it's very American on one side, and then the international kids were like Chinese. But I felt like European culture at that school was like foreign to them. Even the way I would dress or speak, I definitely didn't feel like I fit in. But I had Bennett with me. My first year, so I feel like I had
you went to KUA as well.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, you started the trend.
I set the path because I feel like there was 1 or 2 other kids after that too. Right?
I don't know about after Bennett, but Bennett came for 2 years.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yeah, Bennett went for 2 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but like my point is like my transition was a bit easier because I had someone that I knew. Even I wasn't that close to him, but I knew him and I loved him. But I feel like for you, did you feel like I'm in a new world right now?
Yeah, I think I wasn't expecting it to feel as different as it did. Because it was like, I just felt like, they speak English. I know like the culture from like TV and stuff, and it doesn't feel too different to like what I know. But then going over there, I realized that like I wasn't understood to the level that I thought I was going to be. And it was at first, it was like, I didn't realize I wasn't understood, or like they didn't understand kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And over time I was like, oh damn, like I'm different.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? In a few different ways. You know, not just culturally, but even just who I am.
Yeah.
And being like a basketball player, but also, as you see now, like the way my mind works creatively and whatnot.
I think a lot of mainstream media did a good job at breaking, not mainstream media, like mainstream production of like, I'd say music and TV. So for me, like Top Boy, honestly, and artists like Stormzy and Gigs who like Skepta.
Yeah.
I know you were big on Skepta earlier.
Yeah, well, actually,
lay her down. I still watch that music video and think of you with the fucking rollerblades and shit. But like that for me, that's British culture.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
And you're right that maybe these guys didn't really get that because it's so different to American culture.
Yeah, it wasn't out there at the time because I remember sharply when Skepta broke America, because it was like a time where I was listening a lot more to the British stuff. And I remember he had like a show out there. This is when he released like Shut Down. Do you remember? Shut Down.
Yeah.
That's not me. He did this show in New York, and so many people came out there, and he literally was blown up in the States. And before that point, when I would show people British, you know, hip hop or grime or whatever, they'll laugh.
Yeah.
They'll laugh in my face.
I can't understand this stuff.
Yeah,
like what is this?
British accent on the track. Because before that, you know, a lot of the rappers and stuff, they're putting on American accents, you know, or like trying to like dilute the Britishness to be accepted over there, which they actually just didn't. This is me, and just started rapping the way he did. And I remember just feeling so proud, like, yo, this is guy from like England. Do you know what I mean? Went out there to the show, I even dapped him up.
That's hilarious.
It was great. I remember I worked my way to the front of the crowd, I was so gassed.
I was gonna say, you probably recognized the British accent, and I'm like, no, you're 6'9". He just saw a tall guy reaching up, like.
Yeah, if I don't dap this guy up, it might be problems, isn't it?
That's hilarious.
Nah, but
so that was kind of the start of content creation for you. But you were still in Leicester hooping at this time, right? Like I know it was COVID, but like you're at this point, you still felt like you were going to go back and play one more season, or did you realize right away like, nah,
when are we talking about? Like when I started doing the British American series, I feel like. So what happened was I started making content. I was still signed to Leicester, but it was pretty much the end of the season because of COVID. Like we wasn't sure if the season's going
March,
to continue
April,
and stuff like that. And even that season, you know, I came out of retirement to play that season.
I remember.
Because, you know, the hip injury. So I was kind of in a place where it's like, you know, the season went the way it did. It was like, I got to play. But I didn't feel the greatest. So when I started, in the midst of lockdown, when I started making the content, I kind of quickly thought, after maybe a couple viral videos, I was like, this feels so natural to me. I'm having fun. And I feel like I need to just pursue this. I don't know how it's going to like, how I'm going to live from it, but I need to like just fully dive in because it's just like, I just felt it strongly, the vision. I felt it so strongly.
Well, that's nice to hear though, because I think people can get scared of like jumping in and not realizing that like you're supposed to be a bit in the unknown for a little bit, especially if something feels so natural to you.
Well, that's the thing, because I knew I was comparing it to my basketball career, because it's like basketball is something I wanted to play. I wanted to reach higher and higher levels, and I was working very hard at it. But how I felt with the creativity was that I was also working hard at it, but it was because it was fun and I enjoyed it. But I also had this extra thing that just felt like some more natural ability and gift. That's like, of course, I still need to like, there's always growth. There's always somewhere to improve. But I noticed that with some basketball players, that this thing that I'm talking about, that it's like, they have a gift.
Yes.
They have a gift.
I think it's not spoken about enough, because I think everyone makes it seem like if you just work really hard at something, like you'll be great at it. And I think that's the biggest load of shit ever. I think hard work puts you in the right position, and
for sure,
a lot of times helps you get far in life. But ultimately, you got to have a natural affiliation towards something, right? And for you, like you built your first computer at like what? Fucking 14, 12, I don't know. So you've had this creativity bug in you. And I think it's been interesting for me to also explore this, where the only thing that has ever made me feel as good as basketball did was content creation. And we're different. Like I'm podcast, you're like, you actually build something from scratch, right? But there is something quite, it's the same, but it's like, you know, there is something quite like, I don't know, it's a bit invigorating, dude, honestly, especially when you, and I think I've only gotten to this point very recently, and we spoke about this before we turned the camera on, but like when you stop looking at the likes and the shares and the follows and the subscriptions and stuff, and you just put stuff out there because you're proud of it, like that is one of the most beautiful things in the world. And I was having this discussion with one of my best friends recently. He's like, you care what people think. I'm like, and I said his name, I'm like, you know, I put videos of myself on YouTube and sometimes I get 20 views. Like, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me anymore. So, and there comes a certain letting go of caring what people think, because like we said earlier, like, technically speaking, you need validation in this game. You need the likes and the subscriptions and stuff, and you have to put things out there that, you know, those likes will get you the money and the fame and the whatever. But like, you're only going to appreciate those things if you like it yourself. Right. Like, if I put something out there that's like disgusting or racist or whatever, and it gets a bunch of likes, like, I'm not going to feel fucking good about it. You know, I got to put something out there that I love first, and the rest will come naturally. That's what I've kind of picked up along the way.
I love that. Let's hold that thought, because I want us to sit down now, because I think we'll really get into conversation.
I got you. So I thought about this the other day. Obviously in sports and anything, there's like accountability and there's a certain amount of things you do yourself. But in basketball, even if you're waking up early and doing all the right things, like there's a coach, there's a team, there's other people involved in your success. Content creation, especially the way you do it, like it's all you. Was that transition hard, or do you enjoy having control over everything that you put out there?
I think that's kind of helped me. That in itself was part of what made it attractive for me to like pursue this, because I always felt like with basketball, never feeling in a situation where I could freely like express myself, and that's just how I felt. It's not that that was the fact of the situation.
No, but I do think you were also sorry to interrupt, but I think you were also pegged as, especially in the UK where basketball wasn't that big, tall guy, throw him in the post. You're a guard. Like you and guards have a creative nature to the way they play, right? There's your bag, your step back, your handle. So I do also feel like that probably influenced it a little bit, where like you've been told your entire life, even though you feel one way, you go play this position. Now you get to make that call yourself.
Right, exactly. And I didn't have the experience as a guard in the professional settings or in the more like competitive settings, but you know how I play when you play with me in scrimmage and
100%.
stuff. I'm not playing how I play as when teams pick me to play for their team.
No.
So I feel like I also got to the point where I was a bit like feeling like I just wanted to be myself and free. So at the beginning, it was more like there was just an explosion of creativity and energy of feeling like free to do whatever I want. And there's no one to tell me, there's no one to put me on the bench. There's no one to sub me out. There's no one to be like, you can't do that. I expect this A, B, and C from you, even if my brain is like seeing a picture that like I can't explain to them.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. A vision.
A vision.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I think now I'm more in a place where I've enjoyed like doing my own thing, but there's something nice about collaborating with people, about being you, doing your part in a team to create something bigger. Because it's like, I could only do so much myself, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, it's fun, the content I make and stuff, but I could do greater things when I'm working with other people.
Yeah.
So now I'm at that point in my career where it's like, that's the next step of like...
It's realizing that 1 + 1 is often like more than 2, right? Because you're having 2 different people or 3 to 4 different people putting a lot of different greater than themselves energy into something, and their project, the end result is like so much greater than just the sum of the parts, right?
Right.
But it's funny you mentioned that, because bursts of energy, creativity, like that's what everyone thinks your regular life is, right? You wake up, you have an idea and you post it, but like that's not how it fucking works. Like you have bouts of not knowing what to do. And even funnily enough, you know, like when I called you that I was back in town, you're like, yeah, of course, let's hang out, but I don't know if I feel in the mood to do content. But then you go to America and you get this burst of energy because you in an event and you met people and you networked, you came back, you're like, no, let's fucking do it. So talk a little bit about that, because I'm also going through my own, like, I wake up some days and I'm like, I don't want to fucking post on Instagram. Like, I don't want to be smiling on the camera, but it's like, you made a commitment to do this, like do it correctly, you know? How do you deal with that?
Oof. Like, I feel like even that in itself is a journey for me, and like I'm still continuing to grow, because yeah, you're right. Not every day you're in the mood to do what you want to do. And once that initial excitement with it it's not the same anymore, where it's like it's not every single time that I wake up and I'm like, oh, content, like, yeah, let's go. It's like, okay, this is also like my livelihood. how do I sustain it? And yeah, I think that's something that I'm still growing with and discovering ways to keep myself inspired. And obviously traveling, I realize that that's something that helps me get in that inspired mode. Because the last thing that I want to do is begin to make things that like I don't like, or
not for you.
Yeah, just
to
because,
get a
and
reaction.
it's like, you know, looking back at, you know, all the videos I've done, that for sure there's some times where I feel like maybe I forced this one, or you know, like maybe this was like not as inspired, and I'm just making it because like you're told like, oh, you need to like post consistently and stuff. But I'm starting to put the focus on like
quality.
And not just the content, no, like myself, like who I am, because it's like that's actually what ends up being in the video, and all the things that have like.
Authenticity also breeds vibrations. Like people can tell when you're being yourself, and people respond very well to that. And people can sniff it out when you're not being yourself, and they don't respond well to that. And it's funny because that word consistency has been such a mind fuck for me, dude. Because on the one hand, everyone that works in this game says post every day, be consistent, whatever. But you're right in that you shouldn't just post to post every day. Now, if you have episodes, clip them. In my case, like I can clip the episodes to get different reels and just post shorts daily to get the algorithm working. But also, like, if something's not clippable, like don't post it for the sake of posting. And I go through this phase where sometimes like we haven't posted in 2 days, and I'll send like 30 messages to Rob and Run, who now work for me and Sam, work with Sam and I, and I'll tell them like we're not posting, we're not doing this, whatever. And sometimes they have to tell me like, Aboudi, like calm down. Like it's okay to not post if we're just gonna post for the sake of posting. And I'm also trying to figure out like, relax. Like there are going to be lulls, and that is very natural. Like when people say be consistent, they don't literally mean post for the sake of posting. They just mean like on the bad days, don't give up, keep pushing through.
Yeah, for sure. Like I see it as like being consistent with your focus, and it's just like, okay, consistency might not look like you're posting. It might look like you're gathering inspiration. It might look like you're talking to like some people that might set up like the next guest, or looking at, you know, different backgrounds or something, wherever like that you can make things better, or like ideas, structure to like, okay, we could play this game with guests and stuff like that. Is like that is also consistency.
But it's funny because that goes back to what we're saying about validation, which is like you can get so, if you don't post for a week, you can get so worried that, oh my God, I'm not posting. Like people think I've given up, blah, 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 blah. Shouldn't give a fuck if people think you've given up. If you know that you're actually just doing the back end stuff, like you said, which could be putting yourself in position to meet new people, or reading a fuck ton of books like the one you just recommended to me about putting yourself in the creative mindset. So it's like, I also think sometimes taking a step back and like looking at the bigger picture and asking yourself like, why are you doing this is so important. Because if you get lost in now, as important as it is to be present, like if you get lost so much in now and you forget the whole reason of you doing things, then I think it's a very dangerous game to play with yourself.
Yeah, purpose is that feeling of like purpose is really important to your motivation as well, to keep going. Because, you know, once that starts to get blurry or hazy, it's like, you know, you need to refocus that, because it gives you energy to do things when you don't necessarily feel like doing it. That's when it's like...
Well, there's actually something, and I'm not going to quote it incorrectly because I'll do, Andrew Huberman total disservice, but there's a part of your brain, it's like the AMCC or something, that if you do something that is difficult, that you don't necessarily enjoy, the effects on your actual mental health are profound. So for example, right now you and I could go do a full-fledged basketball workout, and it would be hard, but we enjoyed it. So that doesn't really count. But like if you know that you have to go garden, okay, you don't want to do it, but you just go and do it anyway because you know it's going to benefit the house or you and your relationship, whatever it is. Like those things actually trigger personal development and growth. It's crazy. Like it is literally proven that if you just do the hard things, you will feel better and you'll put yourself in a better situation. Oh my God. Do you think you're an introvert or an extrovert? And do you know what that means, like the definition?
Yeah. No. My degree's in psychology.
Oh, okay.
So for sure, I know what that means.
Okay.
I'm definitely an introvert. I know how to be an extrovert.
Yeah.
Like I know how to
get energy from other people.
Well, I know how to have extroverted behaviors, because it's like, it's also, I feel like it's not black and white.
So the way I asked the question, sorry, was because I read it, and maybe it's not the right definition, but
Yeah, energy. It's about the energy.
How you get your own energy.
Introversion is like you around in social situations, it drains you of energy. Extroverts get more energy from it.
Yeah.
And obviously the behaviors of introversion is usually avoidant. It's linked with avoidant, being shy, not really talking up and stuff like that. But if you're talking about it from that standpoint of being like the energetically, it definitely drains me, like social,
me too.
big social party, whatever, like events and stuff like that. But you may or may not guess that, like judging, but like from if you see me there,
course,
because it's like okay, like I could even be even more extroverted than
anyone else.
That,
of course.
But it's just a matter of like how I'm feeling or like what my goals are at that time. It's like if I'm there like to have fun, okay, like I have fun in my own way, whatever that looks like. Even if it's like dancing in front of everyone, so I enjoy doing that.
It's for you.
Yeah, it's for me.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm trying to say? But
it's interesting though, because that goes back to like knowing yourself. Like you, I think if people were to just like see me out, you would assume like this guy loves center of attention and being out and being life of the party. But like I get my energy by being alone.
Oh, so you'll describe yourself as an introvert?
On that definition of how I get my energy, I gotta spend time alone. My closest friends, like the ones that know me best, like you, like they know, the ones that live with, like, so you and I don't live together, but like the ones that live in close proximity, they know like Aboudi's got to have like an hour a day by himself, at least, where I'm just like in my head, whether it's good or bad. I mean, who knows what's good or bad for you these days, but I need my time alone to recharge. I don't actually get energy by going out and seeing other people. It drains me. If I go out, if I spend an entire day working and then I go to the gym and then I work, or I don't go to the gym and I go straight out, like I'll have a terrible time. I need to have some time to myself to acknowledge, to be grateful that I woke up and worked and had my, career. And then I have some time to myself, and now I want to go out and enjoy. Like I need that middle period. I can't just go from thing bang 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 bang.
Oh, wow.
Impossible.
I wouldn't have guessed that, to be honest.
There you go.
You always seem like also like an extroverted person, loads of friends, always kind of the guy like life of the party kind of guy. I know
maybe once upon a time.
I know things have changed now. I know things have changed now, but that's kind of just how like I remember you.
And I think there's an element of both, like you said. I think both of us have a bit of both.
It's not black and white, is it?
But I wanted to get your opinion on that because you said you like the point about the AMCC and like doing difficult things. Like, what gets you out of these like supposed slumps, right? Like, obviously you don't wake up every day with stuff to do. Like, do you have like a routine when like you wake up, you're like, all right, I'm not in a video making mood. Like, I got to go on a run. I got to go cook. I got to go. Do you have things for you?
Yeah, for sure. Exercise is a big one. Like, if I'm looking for an idea, like if I feel like making something but I don't have ideas or whatnot, like getting out and moving is like a really good way to get there, like building up some energy, whether it's like going to the gym or sometimes just going for a walk. That's a good, it's always something different, like to, if it quote unquote slump. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's something like that I've never really done before, or like even like this like traveling is something new that I didn't realize that like every time I started to see the pattern that every time I travel, I feel more inspired and I feel more like in that mood of like ideas are coming and I feel like being in front of the camera.
In this case, do you think a part of you is proud of the fact that you went to this event and you stood out with like, you told me about having the iPad versus other creators that didn't have it. Like, do you also think that when you can like build up this idea of like, am I actually that good? Imposter syndrome, blah, blah, blah. And then you can go put yourself in the arena and you can perform and that can invigorate you. Do you feel like that maybe happened this time? Because there's a huge difference in when you and I spoke like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think, that alongside with like, I told you like, about the audition I did and stuff. And I feel like, that was something that I was afraid to do, even though logically it's kind of like a next step or like, it would get me a step closer to like what I see for myself as a goal. But it was scary. And I didn't do it for a long time, even though constantly like there was signs that this is the direction to go, and I just wasn't doing it until literally meeting Denzel, and he's like, "You need to."
Meeting Denzel.
Yeah. So yeah.
But like, I first and foremost, like, what the fuck was that like? Because I feel like there's some people with aura, That just like you kind of, whoa, like you have it obviously, but
Oh, thanks.
Denzel also is Denzel. Like,
Right, for sure.
Can you talk us through like what the fuck happened? Like he just stopped you at a premiere?
No, he didn't stop me. Oh,
Okay.
He didn't stop me. Nah, I saw him walking towards me, and there was like no one like surrounding him. He was on the red carpet of Gladiator 2 in London, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's then like. I've been talking about him all day. I want to see this movie because he's in it. He's a legend. He's inspired me to even do what I'm doing, to be honest. He's one of the people that inspired me. And so I just thought I just want to just say like, thank you for being you kind of thing. Like, you know, lovely to meet you. And I was just going to go on with my day. But, you know, so I went up to him and I said, hi, you know, like your inspiration and stuff. And he like gave me his full attention. And he's like, come on, like, tell me about yourself. Like, who are you? Do you know what I mean? What's going on? And then I was like, oh, snap, I wasn't expecting to have a conversation with you.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, like, you know, I make my own stuff online, I act and stuff. He's like, you can't learn acting online. You got to be on stage. You know, you got like, even if you're like the guy in the back with the spear, you know, you gotta be out there. And he was like, see you at work. That's the gist of what he said. And after that, I took it like, obviously the moment I was just, oh my gosh, I met Denzel, and it was on camera, you know, Martha.
Yes, I saw it.
Like literally like.
That's Martha filming?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm so glad too that she just whipped out the camera because it's like, we didn't plan this.
Yeah, of course not.
She just saw me going up to her. She's like, what? And whipped out the camera. So,
power couple.
yeah. And, then literally, you know, after that, I felt really inspired, but then I also kind of felt weird. Like, you know, I just kind of felt like,
your idol's kind of telling you you're not doing enough, right?
Yeah, in a sense. And I was just like, well, my goal or my vision was like, I'm going to like do what I'm doing and get to where I want to get to, like just by doing what I'm doing. And when he said that and for it to be him saying that, it felt like, it felt like from God, almost.
This is the second time I feel like you've manifested something. You talk about, like you said, you wanted to see him all day, then you spoke to him. You talk about the other thing. I don't want to say it yet because I'm sure we shouldn't say it on camera yet. But like, I feel like you do a lot of this where you actually put out in the world what you expect to get back.
Right. I think there's something to that. I do feel like, you know, I do feel like if you pay attention to life and whatever you want to call it, the universe or whatever religion you are, whatever, I do feel like if you pay attention and you're intentional about things, you will get messages back.
Yes.
But you have to pay attention to them. And the way I saw that is like, who else could give me a message like that I'm supposed to listen to than Denzel Washington? That's like, this is like my favorite actor. So yeah, after that time, I still kind of just was doing my own thing. And I just, you know, I started to get this weird feeling inside myself that like, I don't know, like, I kind of saw like, nah, his advice is for like, you know, old school times or something. Obviously he didn't have like internet and stuff when he was coming up. If he had access to what I'm doing, maybe he'll be doing the same thing. But then I also kind of felt there was a little voice in my head saying that like,
fear,
it's fear. You know what, you know, I've even kind of nearly went that path, but then stopped. When
you stopped the first time, was that also fear?
Yeah, I got a big opportunity and I turned it down because I just wanted to focus on still like doing my own thing, you know. But when I think about it, I was definitely scared because it's just like a big step.
It's a big step without any clear certainty. But the thing about content creation is that if you put a couple viral videos, you instantly know what you're doing.
Right.
Instantly, right? So you're not about the validation. You just know that I'm good at this. So you can maybe put a couple more out that aren't good, but you already have in front of you the algorithm and the traction that shows I'm good at this.
Right.
For you to go take an acting course and to start fresh, you're not going to know if you're good at it, probably for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's why I understand the fear you're talking about. But I read something the other day. So I've heard this quote, like, fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. I like that. But it's the same thing as, like, people often think that they take this leap of faith and they're going to land on a bed of nails. And the truth is you end up landing on a bed of flowers. And it's like, even if you don't get the desired result, like, the actual jump is the most liberating thing in the world. And I feel like seeing you pre and post audition, I can see that. And I can see the way you're just proud of yourself for doing it. Now, obviously, if you don't get it, there'll be disappointment and like that would be another, obstacle you overcome. But I can already tell you, like, that wouldn't stop you.
Well, what I noticed after that experience and how my energy felt, how all of a sudden I feel elevated from, moving past my fears, preparing properly. Because that was another thing that I was doing, like, when I would get auditions here and there, I would not really try so hard. I'll learn the lines, but I wouldn't really, I'll just say, if it's meant for me, it'll be, but for this last thing I did.
The ego, man.
Yeah,
it's so scary to try hard at something and fail, so that the alternative your brain will tell you is don't try that hard.
Right, exactly. And, I prepared so hard, like I really practiced it and like worked through it to a point where it was like, I felt like I did enough, going in. Well, I still felt like I could have done more. I was even kind of worried, like, oh, maybe I wouldn't be prepared. But when I got there, I realized that I prepared. And
which is also an important lesson, like that most people don't fucking prepare. And most people don't take their shit too seriously. That to be exceptional, like, you have to work a lot harder, whatever. But like that extra 20%, most people won't do.
Right.
And I feel like that's also an important lesson, is that you can like psych yourself out about how hard things are, but like also take note that effort to prepare yourself and to come into something knowing exactly what you expect is not something that a lot of people do. Because most people will probably have the fear that you had, which is, I don't know if I can do this, I'm going to half-ass it, right? Like, think about it. If you were feeling like that, and if I'm telling you I felt like that, everyone else probably has that same thing.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes sense, and like I totally understand it, and I realize even that I wasn't ready before. I had to have certain experiences and stuff to get to that place where it's like, oh, actually, I need to take this seriously. I always need to take it seriously and not do my best because of fear. And yeah, you're right. It doesn't, now how I actually feel is that it doesn't really matter the result. I feel good from going in there and giving it my all, and I'm able to kind of just like, whatever be will be. But like I feel so good about that, going past the fear and like just trying my best. So yeah.
It goes back to like, you can spend your entire life doing what you think other people want for you, but the biggest happiness and the biggest source of joy is when you do things for yourself. And I guess my question to you on that note is like, when you started with content creation and you switched from hooping, was this the end goal? Did you know at that time, like, I want to go into more TV, movie, like I want to be on screen?
Yeah, for sure. I think
I didn't know that.
Yeah, to be honest, before I started playing basketball.
Even before hooping?
Yeah. Like when I was in primary school, I would describe my dream as being an entertainer. And in school, that's what I was. I was in the talent shows. I was like writing my own raps.
That's crazy.
Rapping, break dancing. I was in all the school plays and stuff. And I kind of just, that's kind of what I saw myself as. Like, I want to be some type of entertainer, whether it's like movies,
make people happy,
or
whatever,
rap, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I found myself playing basketball for whatever reason. I didn't make the football team, and also being tall, I was like, damn, like this is like somewhere where tall people are celebrated.
Yeah.
And I wanted that for myself.
Yeah.
So I started playing basketball. I started, getting good at it. Then I started seeing myself like, okay, I could play basketball. But even in that, when I look back, I think I was more attracted to the entertainment that it was giving people, more so than anything else. And not to say I don't enjoy the game for what it is, but I learned that over time. It wasn't that like I was watching basketball every night. I watched it when I could, but how it's not even easy to watch in England.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really, drawn to it for that.
Yeah.
Now I am. I enjoy watching basketball because like I know how to play so well. Do you know what I mean? And I've had
we're good now, so it's fun to
I'm watching
cook,
it at a different level and appreciating what they're doing from that perspective. But really, I got into this, and that's what I wanted to do. When I left playing basketball, I made the decision. I didn't re-sign for that team. Whatever. I went back home. I didn't know I was going to not be playing basketball that summer. I didn't really have a space where I could create content and stuff like that. I moved to Germany with a friend, worked there 6 months as like a personal trainer. All of a sudden, this competition came from the Evening Standard, which was like the prize was 10,000, and it was pretty much like I saw it as an acting competition. Yeah. You make a video and in that video is kind of like your audition to be a part of this program.
Okay.
And you also win 10 grand. And at that time, I needed money.
Yeah.
I didn't have my own place and all that. I'm like, I need to win this. So I entered the competition. I could send you the link to the video. It would be interesting. But like, it was kind of saying, you know, it was like that scene from is it called 7 Pounds? No, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yes.
When Will Smith is like to his son, don't ever tell you can't.
Don't ever let anyone tell you can't do something.
Can't do something. Do you know what I mean? And people found it quite inspiring because it's like you could see in the videos, like I'm talking to myself, but I'm also talking to the camera, like to you.
Yeah.
And I ended up winning, being one of the winners. Used that money to get my own place, invest in all my equipment, and that was the moment where I was like, I'm doing this. They helped me get signed to an acting agency.
At this point, you had been making content, like just the viral videos, right?
Yeah, I already started that British American series.
But you weren't monetizing from it.
No, I made like a bit of money, but like
you were on TikTok, right? It was before YouTube.
Yeah.
You blew up on TikTok.
Yeah. Initially.
Yes, I remember now.
And yeah, by that time I did a few campaigns there and here, but it wasn't.
But it's like keeping the lights on. It's not like
it was.
comfort.
I wasn't. You know, and the quality of my work was
not a house with a studio and a computer.
Exactly.
So proud of you.
So yeah, I invested in myself from that point, and in my mind I was like, I'm going to make it for Hollywood kind of thing. That program, they helped me get an acting agency, and
that's when your fear took over?
Yeah, they got me this exciting opportunity to be in theater. And I was just like, it was the fear talking, but it was like, what? Like, that ain't cool. Like, what?
Haven't seen Denzel on stage. Even
though that's his thing.
Exactly.
But I was just kind of thinking, well, I don't see, like, do you know what I mean? Like, nah, like this, you know. And and you know, I turned it down, and you know, I stayed there did some more auditions because I told them like, oh, I'm trying to be like just on screen, and I got some auditions here and there, but it just wasn't. It really nothing.
So would you say now? So fear held you back then. Now is it? And this is like strong words, so don't take it literally. But would you say a lack of fulfillment just doing this is what's pushing you over the edge?
Yeah, I want to do more.
Like you're not exactly. So you're not. It's not enough.
Yeah, it's not. Like for sure, if I was doing movies and TV stuff like right now, I would still want to do my own.
Yes,
thing.
That's your baby.
Yeah, but right now it's like I know that I want more.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm not doing. For me to not take the opportunities and stuff that come my way, for Denzel to come and sell me, it's just like, what more do I want?
You're
like,
almost slapping fate in the face.
Yeah, I'm like, just like going through life like this. So it's like, that feeling of like, okay, I'm going for it. And I'm not like holding back when I get auditions. I'm not like, I'm not half-assing it because like, oh, if it's supposed to be, they'll pick me. It doesn't matter if it's not my best. Like, no, that's not the attitude to go with. And even doing that, coming back to my own content, it kind of even reminds me there that like, this is a different style than what you see on TV, on your streaming services and stuff. But even to approach that seriously too, you know, when I make my own scripts, I'm playing all different characters and stuff, but even prepare for that and give a good performance because it does matter.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like
impressions.
Yeah. So I think, you know how everything is kind of connected? Is like, that's how it kind of felt. Or how things are feeling right now. It's like, it doesn't really matter about like the outcome of the opportunities and stuff, because all of that you could understand looking backwards, but feeling like, no, I'm going for it in life. I'm taking the actions, and what comes from that, we'll see. But like that feeling is like is a good feeling, and it kind of helps everything else come along, and things start even magically happen in a way that's just like, okay, whoa.
It's like that thing I just showed you. It's like when you fully go for something that you want, like nature will reward you with signs and signals that you're on the right path. If you're on the right path, right? If you're focusing your energy on the right thing. And it's funny because like I've gotten my first dose of this with content creation, and like someone asked me this recently, like, why are you doing it? Like honestly, like why? What's your why? I had actually never asked myself this, honestly. I'm like, okay, like I actually don't really give a fuck about fame, to be honest. Like, alhamdulillah, I have a good life. Like, I have a great career in my regular career. Like, I'm fully convinced that I'm gonna blow up in that career, and I could do that without ever being behind the camera. So why like do something so totally different, which is not only saturated, everyone's doing a fucking podcast, but also you open yourself up to criticism and everyone's opinion when you put yourself on camera, right? So why? And I have to keep like digging, like, why the fuck am I doing this, dude? When I came back to it was like, I just want to be in a position where I can influence people to like do what they want to do in their life and to take action in their own hands.
Wow.
And I want to really do that as an Arab and as a Palestinian in this day and age, because like, we're not going to get into politics, but like, you know, I'm lucky. You know, my family's been abroad my entire life. Like, I actually think the reason I do this is so people can like see a prominent Palestinian, hopefully one day I'll be prominent on media, and be like, oh, just a normal guy with an American accent who played professional basketball, who works in VC, who's tatted up, who all these things that you don't associate with Palestinians and Arabs, I am.
Yeah.
Right? So then I'm like, okay, let's unpeel it one level further. And it's like, well, my grandfather was an educator in the sense of like, he loved to inspire people to learn, him and my grandmother. And I realized that, and I've never said this out loud, but I think my biggest goal in life is to be an educator. Whether that means through the podcast, whether that means going and giving in-person, you know, talks at my old school. Like, I love the idea of leveraging the fact that I'm blessed with my opportunities and the career I've had and giving it back to people. And I think that's what my why is, honestly.
Wow, that's
entertainer,
amazing.
Educator. Look at that.
And I see it. I see it, to be honest.
I mean, you've known me since I was fucking, well, still this hype, but since I had a whole bunch of hair. So it means a lot coming from you, obviously.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And to be honest, I've never heard you say it, but now you're saying it, I'm like, damn. Even thinking about all the experiences you have is like, it sets you up perfectly to be an amazing educator.
I would hope
because
so.
you've had, you know, you've had such a journey with trials and tribulations and experiences that like it puts you in a perspective that you can relate to people.
100%.
And
I think what people like about like you and I stepping, and any athlete stepping outside off the court and into something more public facing is like, to this day, even with, you know, people like KD and all these NBA players and other athletes stepping out and talking candidly about the emotional trials and tribulations of playing professional sports, I think sometimes someone can look at that and be like, oh, he's in the NBA, like what a lucky life, and not take it seriously. But like, I can look at you in the eye and say like, the hardest years of my life were the 2 years I was playing in Kuwait. I fucking hated everything about it. Fuck yeah, dude. And I know you had some trials and tribulations too on the court, like, and a lot of tribulations. Like, it's not easy, dude. It's not easy when especially you think that pro sports is one thing and you don't realize the politics involved. You don't realize how much your body can take. Like, it makes you appreciate how much like those guys are machines that play at the highest level, football, basketball, whatever. But also like, I'm kind of rambling now, but for me, it was, I think I learned more, and it made me realize how much I want to share my learnings in the year that I essentially was benched in my pro career. And I was benched for an entire year because of a disagreement with a coach.
Really?
Yeah, and then I took it wrong, right? So you know me, I'm so competitive, and sometimes, a lot of times it's good, but there were times when it was bad. You and I joke about how I used to get so mad when I wasn't playing well and like fucking throw balls. I just unlocked some memories for you.
I forgot about that. You're a different person now.
Different person, but it was, man, it was challenging, Jess. Like I fucking hated everything, and I look back on it with, even though I shouldn't regret, the one thing I regret isn't that it happened. I regret how much of a little bitch I acted like. Like, it got to the point where it was clear to my teammates, to everyone else, that like I was being benched to make an example. So like they were telling me, go play for a different team. Other team would come approach us during the game in front of my coach on the bench and be like, yo, you're coming to us next season. But instead of just like continuing and biding my time and working out and being grateful that I was still being paid to play basketball, which every fucking guy, 80% of men that are born from the ages of 2 to 10 want to play some professional sport. Right? It's an arbitrary stat, but it's probably true. And I could have just been grateful that I was doing that, you know? But instead I'm like huffing and puffing on the bench. And I would let the coach know I was pissed. I'd still go in early and work out and leave like first one in, last one out. But my attitude was fucking terrible, dude.
Can I ask you this then? How would you approach it now if you was in the same situation, or if you could go back?
Look, hindsight is 20/20. So what my answer will be unfair because I now know how things work.
Yeah, but that's what I'm interested in, though. Like, yeah, I know you now know, but like, what would have been a better
Bro,
way to...
you keep your attitude fucking sharp. You stay angry behind closed doors. You need anger. Everyone needs fucking anger. Be mad at what you can't have. Hate what you can't have. I'm cool with that. But don't show the coach, because when the game is tied in the fourth quarter and the guy that he's benched me for is playing like fucking shit and he looks down the bench and he sees me rumping and puffing, he's not going to put me in the fucking game. But if he looks down the bench and in the moment of, fuck, I've just put this guy through so much, but he's still ready to play, I'm sitting there looking like, come on, put me in the game. He's going to put me in the game. I'm going to be ready. And I'll take my moment. That's
so interesting. I know this might be a bit kind of a different topic, but it had me thinking about Luka. I was watching him play recently, and I was just watching him and how he was talking to the refs, and I just thought, I know this guy's an amazing player and he could do whatever he wants, and regardless of how the referees feel about him, he could still perform at a high level. But in this game, particularly
against the Nets,
was that the last game?
When they bumped him and he got all
he was getting fouled crazy, but I noticed, which he usually does this anyway, every time he doesn't get a call, he really like just looks at the refs and it's like, yeah, but it's like really like quite.
It's gonna make the ref not want to give you the call.
It's like forgetting that they're humans. They're not. It's not AI refereeing the game. That you actually, it matters how they feel for them to the action of blowing the whistle. How they feel is not a not factor. If he was able to conduct himself in a way that the referees at least respect. That's exactly, respect this guy because he's being respectful to them. If I was a referee, I know I would blow the whistle more.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. If someone walked up to me after a bad call and was like, man, like, can you just watch out? Jesse's bumping me when no one's looking. Try that. Instead of like, what the fuck, man? He's fucking bumping, you know? Like,
yeah. And that was more his body language to them. It's like, these referees are in front of, thousands of people, you know, and obviously on TV.
They also have egos.
And and it's like, you're doing this in front of them, like embarrassing them, like publicly doing their job, like they're not doing their job properly.
And you're Luka, so it's going to go on the front page that you're doing that.
Yeah. And it's just like, I'm thinking about it like, damn, of course you're not going to get calls. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It's crazy.
I just say that to your point about like the coach and stuff, that it's just like, okay, if you're huffing and puffing, it's like you almost forget that this is someone that is directly affecting like your game.
Right. And
you know
and that's what so this goes back to what I asked you about, like, now you're on your own, there's a coach and thing. And so again, like, I think one of the biggest misconceptions in life is that, like, if you just work hard and you're a good person, like, things will go your way. There are so many variables that you can't control, right? There are so many variables in life that you can't control. But if you're okay with that and you control what you can control, and you don't overreact and get emotional about things that you can't control, then the hard work and the focus leads out to good things. I was doing the hard work and the focus. Like, I was still working my ass off. I was still in great shape. I was still hooping in practice. I was cooking in practice. But I would let the things I couldn't control really affect me. And it meant that I wasn't a fun person to be around. I was a fucking negative Nancy, dude. I was honestly an asshole. And so to answer your question, like, looking back, I would just suck up my pride and I wouldn't outwardly display my disgust with the situation. Was it an unfair situation? Yeah, but life's fucking unfair, dude. At the end of the day, I went to college. I played 1 year professional basketball. I have college basketball. I broke my ankle, didn't touch a ball for 3 years, and then I ended up playing pro. That's lucky. I should be grateful for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't. And that's where I think the mentality shift would be important. And like, it's funny, I actually have a question that I wrote down for you, which was, so the question first was, if you could go back to yourself at the beginning of your content creation career and give yourself advice, like, what would it be? And then I'm like, we have this full circle moment that I spoke about earlier, which is, you used to come to my house to get shots up in London because there was nowhere to hoop, right? Now I'm coming to your house to learn about content creation and to catch up with one of my best friends. What advice would you give me at the beginning of my journey? I consider myself at the beginning of my journey, yeah. Anyone at the beginning of their journey. Like, you've now been through it, right? This is year 5, year 6, year 5.
Yeah. I feel like there's a few things I'll talk about. Let me think. What the first thing that comes to my head is just the consistency thing. No, not directly consistency. It's more like a mindset. It's the mindset of doing things for you, because I do feel like, how the audience is up and down, and things that might seem even positive, like getting a lot of views and whatever engagement and stuff, might actually not always be like the best thing. Do you know what I mean? So and what I mean by that is that like you could post something that you don't like, and it blows
100%.
up. It blows up, and now this is your image. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So more importantly, is like, okay, what do I want to do?
Yes.
What do I want to post? And am I aligned with like my vision of like where I see myself in the future? So everything I'm doing, is it going towards that, or is it being changed by, how people are perceiving, by the numbers, by...
You should be happy with any piece of content that blows up, because it should always represent who you are. Right. That's kind of like what you're saying. It's like, don't put something out there that if it blows up, you're going to be like, that's not me. Like, I didn't do that for me. I did that for the wrong reasons. Right? You want everything to be you, Jesse.
Because that's sustainable too. Mm-hmm. And
exactly.
In a sense of like...
You're always yourself.
You're always yourself is the easiest thing to do, in a sense of like, when you asked about like running out of ideas or something like, well, actually, if you're doing things in a way that's authentic, it's very sustainable, because you don't really have to try. Because it's like, it could be confusing if you're like trying to uphold something that's other people's standards, it's other people's expectations. Then it's like, oh, now I'm not sure what to do. What do people want me to do? In as opposed to like, oh snap, I feel like interviewing this person, or I feel like doing an episode outside or something. Then there's always something that you could like go towards. And it's also even a voice.
It's a life thing though, because besides like your partner, like you're going to bed alone, you're waking up alone. Why then are you worried about doing things for other people? When like when the lights go off, it's just you and your mind, right? Like you need to be happy with everything you put out there. Right. I think one of the things the reason I asked for advice is because one of the things I've like struggled with is, and we spoke about this, authenticity is the most important thing. Be authentic on camera. But also there is something to be said about like having like a social facing presence and then your own personal private life, right? You do a great job with this, because all your content on your social media is just like hilarious shit and fun and whatever, but like people probably don't know Jesse, right? All your fans don't know you that much, right? How do you balance that? Like how do you balance keeping your private life for yourself but also being so front facing?
That's something I think about, because some people that are close to me say, why don't you put more like of yourself out there? I feel like you're a different like person than just like what we see. And it's not that I haven't done that. I haven't done that much. So if you're asking how do I do it, it's just by not putting really out there. Like I don't really
intentionally though. So I guess that's my question.
It's not really intentionally. It's just more like more times I don't feel like doing that, or I don't feel like that's what is like valuable for me to share. Like I'm that type of person. Like I like sharing ideas. I like storytelling. But do I really feel like I'm not the type of person that I'm living life and I really all the time feel like filming, show people
look
what
at my experiences.
Not necessarily, unless I've planned to do it. For instance, I went on that trip to South by Southwest, and it was but I had that as like goal, like tasks. Like I'm posting stories about this, and this, and then in the way I did it, it was like entertaining. Do you know what I mean? It was like some storytelling there and stuff. But I don't really get that feeling more times. There's just like, oh look, I'm in the studio. Like maybe I should do that more.
No, I think there's a lot of merit in that. I think a lot of my friends, like two of my closest friends, are fucking with me now because it's like anytime I pull out my phone, they're like, oh, he's gonna post it, and I'm like, no, but I like you have also. Sometimes I think about what I'm gonna be doing in a couple of days, and I'm like, okay, I can probably post that. And part of me thinks that seems inauthentic. It's like I'm going to be there just so I can post on the social media. But it's like at the same time, like that's the nature of the job, isn't it? Like people want to know the person behind the creator.
Right.
And there's some fine balance that I haven't really found yet, and I'm still trying to find.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I don't know. I think there's no right or wrong way. That's the thing. I think there's no right or wrong way, and I don't think that there's any issue with like you seeing things in the future and being like, that's something interesting. So when I'm there, I'm going to like share it, as opposed to feeling like people need to know what you're having for breakfast. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people like for some reason we do care.
Yes.
What certain people have
care
for
so
breakfast.
much. It's insane.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It's like we were speaking about Kai Cenat before. It's like I was asking you. I mean, he seems like a really smart, nice guy, but like, why is everyone obsessed with him? But like, part of me thinks this culture of us obsessing over influencers and actors and musicians and athletes is very indicative of a very unhappy population, of us trying to vicariously live through other people to avoid the life that we don't want to live ourselves. And it's funny being in the game of wanting those eyeballs and wanting those subscriptions, but also resenting what it stands for. Like at the end of the day, I'm proud of the content I put out there because I'm trying to talk to people about adversity, balance, success. Like that's really what Beyond the Buzzer is. Like you can talk about sports, whatever. It's just about overcoming adversity and understanding that you can be good at a lot of different things and like don't be confined to what people tell you are. So I'm proud of the content I put out there. But I also do think it's a bit like, I don't want to say daunting. It's a bit daunting to like also try and again attract those eyeballs away and have people constantly watching the stuff that I'm doing or that you're doing, because I do feel like that's people just having an escape, right? And there's a balance. Like, not everyone that's watching your content is only watching your content. I watch your content and I have a full fucking life, right? But I don't know. I mean, what part of me is like, are we going down this dangerous path where now social influence is becoming a new currency? I really believe that.
That is becoming a new currency.
I believe social influence is the newest form of currency.
Yeah, I see that. You know, these social media stars and stuff, like, they do have a lot of influence, like, you know, and they have access to so many people, and anything that they put out, you know, like, it could be seen. And that's literally influence. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's not dangerous. I think it depends on each individual and what they're doing with that influence. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And that's what I was saying even about my bottle of water, whereas like, yeah, this is, people know me, the bottle of water guy and stuff like that. But I've thought about that. And I've thought like, actually, people could say what they want about it. Oh, this guy who's bottle water all the time, whatever, and stuff like that. But I'm like, some other people are promoting products that are very bad for you and that are not, you know, doing any good.
In the name of something that's good for you.
Yeah.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
If you're going to put out something that ostensibly isn't very good, just say like, this is a chocolate bar. Or, you know, Mr. Beast isn't saying that his chocolate bar is going to make you lose weight. So that's cool. Put it out there. Be successful. But there are other people that, you know, are putting things out there in the name of something healthy, but it's not healthy. And that's where I think understanding your influence and the impact you have on people always should supersede financial gain. And it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people don't make that connection in, I guess, morality, I guess. And that's something that I definitely think about. I don't think I'm perfect, but I definitely want to do good. I feel like we're not here forever. We're here for the time we have. And it's like, I would want my legacy that I've left the world a better place, you know, however much better it is, but than I came in, you know?
So I'm a bit of a quote junkie. And I always like to quote other people on podcasts, but I'm gonna hit you with one that I came up with myself that I actually think is it makes a lot of sense. And I think it's when you realize that nothing matters, then you can appreciate that everything matters. And what I mean by that is like you said, like we're not all here forever. We're all gonna be gone before we know it. I'm 30, bro. I met you when I was 12. It's fucking crazy. 18 years have passed in our friendship, right? Yeah, goddamn, right? So when you realize that like nothing actually matters and everyone dies and no matter how famous you are, you're forgotten, then you can appreciate every little thing. And you can appreciate your influence and your impact and the message you leave on other people, which is go drink some fucking water, you know?
Drink a bottle of water.
Drink a bottle of water. But no, I mean, bro, always great to see you.
Yeah.
Full circle moment. This was supposed to be 10 minutes. It's been an hour and fucking 20.
Yeah, I hope the camera didn't run out.
Let's see. By the way, I can't wait to see what's next. We're not going to speak about it because let's let it transpire the way it does. But I love you and good to see you, my man.
Much love.
That was fun.
Yeah.